And I think it's not. Oh, recording started. There we go. Brilliant. Alison, I'm going to pass over to you. Thank you very much.
Lovely. So I'm Alison Fisher. I'm the Day Opportunities Manager for Social Care and Action. I oversee all the day centres in the city, and I know I've spoken to a couple of you because there's some names that I recognise, and obviously some of you are involved with SESH, which I also co-facilitate with Astrid. But today I'm going to talk about my day services so that you all kind of get an understanding of what we do and what we get up to and how it works, and hopefully you'll be able to send some referrals over to me. So I'll give you an overview of what kind of happens during the day, and I've got a little short video that I can show you guys, and I can also share with you all so that you can be able to show perspective of your prospective clients from our point of view. So basically we've got three centres across the city. We've got one at Chamberlain Leisure Centre, one at Padwell Road, and one at Fremantle Community Centre in Shirley. And what happens is we sort of signpost people to the closest one from their postcode point of view. And what happens is the bus will come and collect them anytime from sort of 9 o'clock in the morning. Depends on where they are on the run list. They'll get to the centre, and at the moment we're still currently doing LFT tests on everybody, just to make sure that they're all safe and my staff are safe, because if I don't have any staff because they're all off with COVID, then I can't run my service. They'll get offered a cup of tea or coffee. In all the centres there are tea stations, so if they are able, we encourage them. Some of them need a little bit more encouragement to go and do it themselves because they think it's a waitress service centre. We are not a waitress service. If they can use it, do it at home, they can do it in the centre. So we're trying not to decondition them and keep their independence up as much as we can. They'll do an array of different activities. Now, in particular at Chamberlain, because we're in the leisure centre, we do have access to the gym. So all the staff are trained on the equipment, and the customers are more than happy to go up there and use the equipment. We also have access to any of the like the table tennis, the badminton, and we often have both of those in our room at the end. And we'll adapt it. So I know that there's some customers who really enjoy it that are wheelchair bound, but we'll still get them up and doing as much as we can with them. Because they are a bespoke kind of the fitness side of things, they do have access to obviously a lot of the stuff at the gym. But for all of the centres, they'll do different activities in the morning. So it could be arts and crafts. We encourage them all to do seated exercise. If we can get the customers up to stand up, then we will encourage them to do that. Again, it helps to increase their independence. We'll do quizzes, we do cooking, we do, you name it and we'll do it. We've done armchair travel, and I know the team have done a recent one to Hawaii. So they all got hula skirts on, and the reefs, I can't remember what they're called, but the other garlands, they've all had those on, and they had a really good time doing that. So we'll do different things. They'll get a 2-course hot lunch that's supplied by City Catering, or whether they've cooked it themselves, depends. And then in the afternoon, again, it'll be an array of different activities. And as I said, you name an activity. If you don't think it can be done, we will try and adapt it so it can be done, so that we can get them doing anything really. 3 o'clock, the buses will come and take them home. So I'm just going to share this video that we've got and hope it works. Oh, bear with, I've got to sort my speakers out because apparently I can't share the volume. Not that you probably want to listen to the music, but try that.
Thanks, Alison. There wouldn't be a meeting without some sort of technical hitch coming up. And also, exactly.
Why not, eh? Okay, so here we go. There's my little video. Any questions?
Thank you, Alison. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for telling us about all the wonderful work you are doing. We have one hand up already. I will pass over to Yasmin.
Hi, Alison. Thanks for that. Just had a question about if you're self-funding, would you still contact Adult Social Care Connect? How would you go about that?
No, so if you're self-funding, you can go direct to me. So obviously the contact details are on the video, and we can have private customers as well as funded customers. I didn't cover that, so I do apologise. But yeah, we get referrals from placement services, but we also get quite a few self-funding people come through as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Alison.
The fee for the...
Sorry, Alison.
I was just going to say the fee for the private customers is £61. It's just gone up. But that includes their transport and lunch. So
a good offer to be able to come across and get a fantastic day spent with lots of different people and doing something really wonderful and active. And one of the things I really liked that video was how happy all of the different people who looked in the pictures. It's clear that everyone who engaged in it, and the feedback I've had from people who've done it has been absolutely wonderful. I know when I was at the carer service, we referred people to it, and it worked really well. So it's really good. Just a question from me about areas. Do you, you're obviously working in different sort of cluster areas of the city or different sort of localities. Does an individual kind of have to be based in the area that, you know, would somebody in Western kind of only go to Chamberlain, or could they go to kind of different parts of the city? So it will be kind of geographically based?
It is geographically based. However, if they would prefer to go to, say they lived on the west, but they're very physically active and want to go to Chamberlain, then that's absolutely fine. They would just need to get themselves there. We can't logistically, otherwise they'll be on the bus for like 20 hours of the day. Okay. Especially in the traffic we've got at the moment.
Yeah, the traffic across the city. It's nice at the moment where it's Easter holidays, but yeah, exactly. Generally on a Monday 9 to 5 coming across would be an absolute nightmare. Okay, brilliant. Would you be able to forward me that video as well? And yep. What I'll do, I don't know if anyone else. I had a little bit of buffering when I was watching it on mine, so I don't know if that was the same case for anyone else. But if you could send that over to me, that would be absolutely brilliant. Like you. Yeah. Does anyone else have any? Oh, sorry, Alison.
No, that's all right. What I was going to say is I'll also send over our professional leaflet and our like customer leaflet as a PDF for you to share as well.
Brilliant. I'll send that out after this meeting. I hate to ask a question, it was always one that comes up. Is there much of a waiting list at the moment, or are people sort of being triaged quite quickly?
No, there's no waiting list.
Fantastic.
We've got plenty of spaces, sadly.
Plenty of, well, let's work hard to help fill those up then.
Yes,
and
please.
I know that, yes, absolutely. Does anyone else have any questions for Alison about their service? No. Okay, Alison Disher, thank you that you've done your job on time as well, which is even better. Brilliant, thank you very much. If you send me the contact details and sort of how to refer, and I'll send those out after this video. And if if anyone does think of any sort of questions, in a minute, they think, oh, I should have asked that when I had the chance. Just put it in the chat. Alison, are you going to stick around, or will we be sort of heading off into the ether?
I'll stick around. I might put my camera off and then go through some more emails. Hate being on leave.
We shouldn't do it, Alison. We shouldn't do it. I completely feel your pain. You go away, you come back, you just think, oh, was my lovely week in the sun worth it?
Exactly.
Yes, it was. Well, week in the rain, as we just had, really. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alison Fisher.
No worries.
I will pass over to Mac Ince, who's going to tell us a bit about Sholing Valley.
Yes.
Good morning, Mac.
Good morning. Hi, Joe. Thanks for inviting me here today. It's lovely to see some people. A couple of names I recognise, but quite a few I do not. So hopefully you can see those the slides. I've just shared a couple of slides there. So for those of you that don't know, so I'm Mac Ince. I'm one of the volunteers at Sholing Valley Study Centre. We are a local nature reserve over in Sholing. We're quite small because we're in the middle of a city, but we're really lucky. We are part of a greenway, and which means we connect a much larger part of habitat together. And we've got several different habitats on site, so we've got quite a nice little varied site. So I'm one of the volunteers with about 100 other people. We've been a charity since 1988. It's council land, but we basically manage the site. So you can see in that photo, that's our pond there. We have three main aims, and that's to educate, preserve and enhance. I run a lot of regular sessions with like members of the public or corporate groups, and we do things like tree planting, scrub control path building, lots of light duties as well, like litter picking, and we do a lot of guided tours. We've got a bat walk coming up, and I do foraging things. But yeah, most of the work that I do on the site is about the conservation work. But the main reason that we exist is to get people interested and excited about the environment. We want them to enjoy the outdoors and nature. So I run these sessions on the last Friday and the last Sunday of the month. They're free and open to anyone from the public to come along. We give training on the session, so it can be anyone who's never even picked up a pair of loppers before. We're all first aid trained and safeguard training as well. We try and make sure that the people that are coming are happy with the tasks they're doing. There's some quite heavy duty stuff. Sometimes we might cut down some trees, so if someone's a bit more physically able to do that, we'll get them to. Otherwise, we do really basic stuff, like just filling up the bird feeders and stuff like that. So we're very lucky on our reserve that we've got three areas. So we've got, as you can see from the map, we've got a pond, we've got a woodlands, and we've got a grassland area. So when we do the tours, we get to take in this whole area. And I talk about why local nature reserves are really important for people to have access to greenlands, why they're really important for educating people about stuff like climate change. We have a lot of invasive species on the site, which we don't really want there because they kind of take over a little bit. So we talk about kind of the green responsibilities that people have and that they can kind of take into their back garden. We quite often make bird boxes with people and give them away, and so they can take them home and put them either in a local green area wherever they live, and maybe try and encourage some wildlife in the back garden. So as I mentioned, we do a lot of outreach and education. I'd say that covers the bulk of our work. We've got lots of volunteer teachers and experts and amateur enthusiasts that help run our sessions. On the last Sunday of the month, we run nature watch sessions. That's for children to engage in nature with these fun activities that we do out on the site. We do about awareness in the natural world. They do things like nature walks. We help teach them animal and plant ID. And we get them to go out in the field, splash in the puddles, do outdoor games, and there's lots of arts and crafts that go along with it as well. We're always doing something different with that. But we also run after-school sessions with youth groups, doing activities like pond dipping, bat walks. I'd be very happy to coordinate if anyone wanted to do a group walk. I'll put my name and contact details in the chat, and you can message me. But I'd be quite happy to run either of an evening or on a weekday. So at the moment I'm transitioning jobs, so I'm currently working 3 days a week, which means I've got a lot of capacity to do Sholing Valley stuff, but I'm going to be going up to 4 days a week. So my Sholing Valley's bits and pieces are going to mainly be on Fridays. So that's the way that we're going to run things going forward. But yeah, if people wanted to come on the site on a Friday, then I'd be very happy to host. Well, I'd love to do it more often, but because we're a volunteer organisation, we kind of heavily rely on having our volunteers available. We do team building activities. We have a group of refugee students come down from Eastwood College. They are supposed to be doing work experience, but because they have basic English language ability, we get them to build on their communication and do team building stuff with them. We've got lots of family fun days that we do as well. We have an apple day once a year, which is in October, where we basically spend a couple of months beforehand going around collecting apples from people's gardens, or from other public access areas where the apples would just go to waste. So we just press them into apple juice, and basically people come along and take that away for free. It's a bit of a kind of done with an approach to sustainable management of food, a little bit teaching. We do a foraging walk where I teach people about how they can access food in their local environment without kind of burdening nature with taking everything, but also, you know, kind of at the same time learning a little bit about nature, learning a little bit about how you can, what you can pick and what you can do with it. So this photo in the slide was taken a local artist called Joanna Rose Tidy. She approached us. She was doing a project with some sunflowers where they planted sunflowers in the garden, and they would come along and they would sketch them. And this ended up being an installation at A Space Arts. I don't know if you know God's House Tower, but they ran that project with us. And that was a really nice thing to do. We're really up for doing lots of small projects like that within the community. We've got a couple of things coming up. I can't be saying much about them at the moment, but we've got a couple of events that are coming up in the future, which will be quite fun. We have our main event is our spring fair, which is coming up on the Saturday 30th of May. It's basically just a village fete in the middle of Southampton. So we've got a big field and we're lucky enough to use that. We're very happy for other people to run their events there. If you wanted to do a big outdoor picnic or a family fun day yourself, we will be perfectly happy to let you have that space. We've got our centre, our study centre. The building has gendered and accessible toilets. We've got a kitchen, we've got Wi-Fi, we've got central heating, we've got all the mod cons there, so that's really nice. If the weather is a bit inclement, we can decamp to there, which is good. But so our spring fair, it's basically for kids and adults alike. We do barbecue, bouncy castles, all sorts of stuff. We'll have live performance, and what we quite like doing at our spring fair is getting loads of other conservation charities to come down, or other charities in Southampton to talk about what they do, so they can kind of raise their profile a little bit. But we do like the conservation groups to come down. We've got Butterfly Group coming down. They're going to be doing a butterfly walk with us. And then we've got a amphibian and reptile group, and they're going to come down and show people, you know, kind of the different wildlife, the different amphibians and reptiles that you can get locally, which will be really nice. But yes, you're very welcome to join us. I can send you some more details if you want to email me. I can send you details on that. And so final slide, hopefully sticking to time. This is my contact details. So Sholing Valley's LNR, so that's Local Nature Reserve @gmail.com. We're both on Twitter and Facebook. Most of our events are published on Facebook. We do keep all of our conservation work days up there, and any other kind of activities that we're doing. But yeah, we're really lucky to be really well served by the community, but we want to open ourselves up more and do more stuff with the community. We had recently a gentleman come down, well, before lockdown this was, and he was referred to us, and he's a bit like my assistant now, so he comes down, and we've given him a Sholing Valley's t-shirt so he can be identified by other members of the public. But he really looks forward to coming down and seeing his regular friends that come along and do some volunteering with us. But yeah, if you'd like to get in contact with me, I'm very happy to chat about either something that's kind of an idea or something that's fully formed. Very interested in connecting more with people like yourselves. So I'm going to stop sharing. And yes, if anyone's got any questions, happy to do that now or do that later, whichever's easiest.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mac. That was a wonderful presentation. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's really nice, yeah.
It's
I mean,
absolutely gorgeous. Sorry.
The image with the rainbow at the end is quite a nice image, because you know, even in, like I mentioned about inclement weather, even when it does rain, it doesn't rain for very long, and then we have a beautiful rainbow at the end of it. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. But yeah,
it is. Well, I think we're really lucky, you know, in Southampton, that Southampton has these absolutely fantastic green spaces, and I think people kind of quite often think of the green spaces being kind of like the common or some big country parts. They kind of forget that, like in kind of Sholing and Woolston, there are two massive green spaces which are absolutely wonderful, that people can go and walk around and have some really stunning vistas to them.
Yes, yeah, we're very lucky. I think like Southampton always rates in the top 10 of most green cities. People are really surprised by this a lot, but we've got and a lot of the time they talk about the blue ways as well as the green ways. You know, we've got so much access to water as well. Sadly, not much of a beach in like terms of Bournemouth, but we've got all of these lovely rivers as well.
I was in a meeting quite recently, and the person who was chairing it was from the north of England and had admitted that they were a bit disappointed because they just assumed Southampton would have a beach when they came to move there 20 years prior. Reminded me of an ex-girlfriend at university who said exactly the same thing, that she got to Southampton, went straight out looking for the beach, and it wasn't there. Couple of quick questions from me before I hand over to the group. First question, sort of referrals into sort of getting people in. What would be the best way to kind of refer if one of our navigation teams or prescriber teams is working with an individual and they say they're interested in doing this? How would be best to transfer them from that initial conversation to being involved with Sholing Valleys?
So first point of contact would be our email, the sholingballeyslnr@gmail.com. That's an account that I monitor, so I'll be reading that. And I think what I quite like doing is getting as much detail from them as possible, so we can kind of work out how best they would fit in with the organisation. I've been trying to create more kind of projects that we can do for people that are interested in learning more about nature on maybe a more accomplished level. So I'm looking for people from all sorts of skills and ability, but yeah, just email me in the first instance, and then I'll be very happy to have that conversation.
Okay, because with our sort of our navigation process, you know, and the prescribers in the room as well, you know, it's a real holistic approach, and people will sit down and talk to the individual and really find out what they're interested in, but also, you know, kind of find out if there are those sort of skills that they're interested in expanding a bit further, or kind of utilizing, because perhaps they haven't got the chance to do it. I think as well, one of the things that really sort of came through to me, and we sort of mentioned it just at the start of our conversation, is that so there is a lot of green space in Southampton, but you know, a lot of people live in tower blocks or don't have access to a sort of green space in the garden. So be able to come along and kind of be involved in nature and be involved in gardening, you know, it's green social prescribing is really shown to have massive benefits for people's mental health. I think it's wonderful to have opportunities like this that Sholing Valley offers, that we can get people along to. I've got a question as a parent as well. I've got a 2-year-old who's sort of displaying a lot of interest in nature. We're just down the road. You know, what is there kind of a lower age limit that the children can be involved in from?
So, I mean, it depends on what you want to come and get involved in. I mean, I did briefly mention that we do our Nature Watch sessions, which was last Sunday of the month. Those are, I mean, if you're going to be there with them, then you can obviously guide them through it. We do ask that in the first session the parents stay with the kids, but a lot of the time we have maybe 5 different volunteers that, or not like DBS checked and everything, but yeah, so they could come along to those last Sunday of the month. But we also do lots of other stuff, like the spring fair that we're doing, that, you know, there's all sorts of activities that we do kind of one-off that they could come to, but the regular thing would be that Nature Watch session. It's ideally it's for primary age children, less preschool stuff, but yeah.
Fantastic, thank you, Matt. I've taken up enough of this time. Would anyone else? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask Matt?
Yeah. When we refer to you, how much information of the person do you need? Is the name and address and phone number?
I don't need an address. Ideally, I'd get, just in terms of context of kind of what would be more important to me would be their interests. I'm not really necessarily interested in demographic data. We don't collect stuff for evaluation. It just makes it a lot easier for us. Then there's no kind of issues with debt protection, you know. if they feel happy to text me, I can give you, or call me, I can give you my personal number, and they can chat to me on the phone, and then we can kind of talk stuff through.
So once we've sent a referral to you, would it be down to them to contact you after that, or?
So if the referral that you sent to me has got their email or their phone number, then I can phone them.
Brilliant. Okay, lovely.
If they're not quite as proactive, then that's fine. It's interesting. We do get quite a lot of people email us and then kind of change their mind. So it's always a delicate balance as how much I push them. But I would definitely open up the conversation with them, and then depending on maybe if we have conversations with you about how far we leave the ball in their court and how much they need that teasing and encouragement. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy to do some of the chasing, I guess.
Lovely, thank you.
Cheers, Mac. Joe.
Hello. Are you dementia friendly?
We are not. No, we haven't done any training because part of the, I'm sure you can appreciate, part of the concern with the volunteers is that it's difficult to keep hold of people for a long period of time. It's something that we want to do. We are doing a lot of our kind of revising our safeguarding stuff as well, and I think that's going to be in line with that. But yeah, we're not currently dementia trained.
Oh, it's a shame, because I think the nature for dementia and the links there is just phenomenal. That but obviously the people that would be around would need to be dementia friendly trained. I know we have in our SP demographic a lady that does the training, and I'm sure she would be quite happy. I can see Joe nodding because he knows exactly who I'm talking about. I'm sure she would be happy to have a chat with you about kind of setting that up.
Great.
But I can immediately think off the top of my head of 2 or 3 clients that I've got that actually coming somewhere like that would do them the absolute world of good.
Yeah.
And they would enjoy it because they'd feel valued and useful, and all those positive kind of side effects of being out in the nature as well.
Yeah, no, we would love to move into that and get. Well, because the thing is, I think at the end of the day, the site is for everyone, really. Like, it breaks my heart that we're not open more often, because it is such a valuable asset and it should be used by everyone. So I'm very interested in getting more people from different backgrounds involved.
Need to help find you some more volunteers, Mac.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's always the challenge, isn't it? Yeah, people are always very busy.
Just as Joe said there, yeah, I'm sure we're thinking exactly the same person, Joe. Mac, we'll have, if you want, we can have that conversation offline after this meeting about getting some of your core team or some volunteers and venture friendly training. Brilliant. Does anyone else have any more questions? No, cool. Well, as I say, if you suddenly think of something burning, Max popped his email in the chat, and if you do think of anything while we're going, you can pop it in the chat as well. Mac, you are more than welcome to stay, or if you need to shoot off, that's absolutely fine. Thank you very much for joining us, and yeah, we look forward to working with you further.
Okay, well, I'm hoping to stay just to find out more about what other people do and get a better sense of the whole kind of the scene that goes on. So that's great. I can stay.
Brilliant, no problem. Well, I'll use that as a seamless segue into our next speaker, which is Helen Fisher, who is going to tell us about SUSTRANS. Thank you very much, Helen.
Hi, my name's Helen Fisher. I work for SUSTRANS, and we're the charity which wants to make it easier for people to walk and cycle every day, because active travel like this is great for individuals' physical health and their well-being and mental health. It's generally good for the community in reducing traffic congestion and pollution. Ultimately, it's good for the planet in having a positive impact on climate change as well. So that's SUSTRANS. My role in SUSTRANS is the volunteer coordinator for the southeast of England, which includes Hampshire and Southampton. And I know Southampton really, really well because we have volunteer-led health walks throughout the city, and that project has been going on for about 12 years. It was started off funded partly by Southampton City Council, and due to the fantastic commitment and input from our volunteers, that project has continued, and we have 6 regular health walks throughout the city. I can share a presentation, so if you just bear with me, I'll try not to have the technical disaster. Here goes. Can you see that? Brilliant. So this is a health walk. This is from our Central Park health walk that starts off from the Central Library at 10:30 on a Monday morning and walks through the fantastic Central Parks. I'm really lucky. I come down to Southampton quite often to meet our walk leaders, etc. So I totally concur with you about how Southampton is a green city and a blue city. When I joined the Western Shore Walk, I was lucky enough to see a seal out in Southampton water, which I was quite amazed about. So first of all, what is a SUSTRANS health walk? Basically, it's a group of more than 3 people walking, and at least 2 people have an expectation that someone is going to lead that walk. It's a walk organised, managed and led by a SUSTRANS trained volunteer walk leader. It's about an hour long. I would say it's up to an hour long, and it's no more than 3 miles long. So you should be getting the impression that it's an introduction to walking. It's a pleasant local walk. It's good for fitness, but we're not doing a route march or anything like that. And it is in urban or suburban environments. A park is an ideal location for a SUSTRANS health walk. It's accessible, it's local, it's got good surfaces. And the other important thing generally is there's a cafe at the end of it. So all the sociability that can go on during the walk, as well as the walking, can be continued afterwards. So at the moment, we've got health walks on Southampton Common, which you've mentioned, in Central Parks, as I've mentioned, also on Western Shore. We've also had a walk just started at Bittern that goes down into Riverside Park. And shortly, a couple of new walk leaders are going to start a walk based at Woodmill Centre, which I think is up towards Mansbridge. So that's what a SUSTRANS health walk is. Why walk? As social prescribers, I think the group will be well aware of the value of walking. So I've just taken 3 facts from different studies throughout the world. I think the physical benefits of walking are really well known. And for me, COVID, when sort of the only accessible activity that people could really do was walk, I think during COVID, walking really came to the fore in demonstrating the mental health value of walking, of getting out there, of getting some exercise, experiencing nature, etc. So that's why we should walk. Well, and why join a SUSTRANS health walk? So I've joined a couple of health walks this spring, and these are some of the quotes from the people who joined the walk. When I said, why do you take part in this health walk? Someone said, I enjoy reconnecting with nature. Hospital told me to do it. It's become a habit. I enjoy the walk and talk, etc. I thought a really good reason that someone gave was it gives me something to walk for, because I'd feel silly just going for a walk by myself. And I think a huge value of a group walk is that opportunity to get confidence from being in a group, getting motivation from being in a group. Getting the motivation to get out of the house and get out there. People talked about very much the physical benefits, but also very much about the mental health and well-being benefits as well. So that's why a SUSTRANS health walk. So if you would like to refer any of your contacts to a SUSTRANS health walk, you can go on to the Southampton My Journey Walking Opportunities website, and I'll put the link in the chat very shortly. So pick the walk you would like to do. The first time you decide to do the walk, turn up 10 minutes early to meet the walk leader, just have a chat, find out who the walk leader is, find out a bit more about the walk, etc. Do the walk, have a chat, and then come back next time. So it's a really simple process. There's no pre-registration. it's just turn up and go. And as we say, the first time, turn up 10 minutes earlier just to get a bit of orientation and to meet the walk leader. And then once you've joined a health walk, what else could you do? You could maybe join another health walk. You could actually do a local journey walk rather than take the car. And how about taking a friend along next time? So, you know, moving forward, the well-being and the benefits that you're feeling as well. Our health walks are led by volunteers. I'm planning to do SUSTRANS walk leader training in Southampton in May. So it's a 6-hour training course, which includes a led walk, probably more like 5 hours than 6 hours. It's really good fun. And at the end of it, you will have to register as a SUSTRANS volunteer to be covered by our insurance, but you'll be a trained walk leader. You can then plan your walk, promote your walk, and then start walking. If you would like to volunteer at a slightly lower level, you can become a walk assistant and be a back marker or a walk assistant on one of our existing walks. And the characteristics of our walk leaders are that they are, first of all, very welcoming. They're really lovely people. They're organised, they're punctual, they're reliable, they're encouraging, and they're patient. And having spoken to our walk leaders as well as our walkers, I know that they really, really, really do enjoy this role. It's very, very satisfying, and they get a lot back from it. So that's what walk leaders are. And then finally, I could give you lots of stories about people who've really benefited from our led walks. For example, sorry, I should have stopped sharing, so I hope I've stopped sharing there. The 3 that I've chosen, just from one walk, actually, I spoke to one of our walkers who's used the walks to recover their fitness and their well-being after a big health crisis, after a serious stroke. Walking's got them back into their physical fitness, but also built their confidence in terms of being in groups of people. We've lots of stories about people walking, losing weight, getting fitter, and also one of our other walkers who is becoming a walk leader has really spoken to me and shared their story about walking helping them come through a major mental health crisis. So, you know, really, really valuable, really, really great stories. And I'm really, really glad that our health walks were there to support them and help them. And that's my presentation, and I'll put my email in the chat, and I'll also just put in the link to the website where all the walks are.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Helen. A lovely presentation. I missed the last 2 minutes or so as the fire alarm went off in the office, which I'm assuming is just a test. But if I suddenly run from my desk waving my arms, then it's might be an actual. Oh, there it goes again. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. Helen, just a question from me. Sort of, is there any sort of formal referral processing for people accessing the walks, or should they just check the walks online and sort of say there's a walk near you, sort of come along?
Yeah, yes, it is totally turn up and go. So I've put the link into the website where our 6 walks are listed, soon to be joined by a 7th based at Woodmills. So literally you go to that website, select the walk you would like to do, and then turn up. I would just add the walks at the Central Park Walk, the Western Shore Walk and the Bittern Walk are gentler walks. The ones on the Common, it's a huge, beautiful open space. They tend to be a little bit brisker. They have got the huge advantage of going back to the Hawthorns Cafe afterwards. And I would also say we have a walk on a Tuesday afternoon, 2 o'clock on the Common, and that was started by the walk leader who is a carer, and she calls it a stress buster walk for, you know, carers just to get some free time, some fresh air, some opportunity just to sort of get away from their caring responsibilities. So yeah. I can send posters or a digital poster, etc., if anyone would like any to put up in their surgery, etc.
Send me any resources. What I tend to do after these meetings is sort of send a bit of an update to the people in the room, but then also send it out to the wider network as well. So anything you've got that would to share and promote the work that you're doing, please send over to me. Susie's got a hand up. I'm going to hand over because the alarm's going off again.
Hello, I just wonder if you're happy for me to pass your email over to our health and wellbeing coaches for them to contact you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
yeah,
lovely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Susie. Any other more questions for Helen? No? Helen, thank you so much for coming. Oh, was that a new hand, Susie?
No, sorry.
That's fine. Thank you, Helen. Brilliant. Yes, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the presentation. And yeah, hopefully we can send some people over. I'm going to pass on to our next speaker and find out that what's going on with the smoke alarm, because it shouldn't be going off quite as much as this. So, Eleanor, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you so much for joining us today, Eleanor.
That's
Is it
okay.
okay? I'm going to hand over to you to talk a bit more about citizens' advice.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I think I've met a couple of you. I would just like to talk to you a little bit today about a project called Home and Well, which is part of Citizens Advice. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Okay, here we are. There we go. Can everyone see that? Brilliant. Home and Well is a relatively new project. It's been around for a couple of years, but it's come to Southampton in the last 6 months or so. It's basically I'm going to keep it quite brief in terms of what we do and the people we help and stuff and how you can refer to us today. But basically, Home and Well is a service provided by every individual Citizens Advice. So I work for Southampton, but it's Hampshire wide. There's a specifically trained advisor at 6 or so different locations around Hampshire. So depending on where you are based will be which one of us you are sent to. But essentially we deal with fuel poverty in the first instance. So anything to do with energy advice, water tariffs, fighting with energy companies, priority services registration. So that's obviously a service whereby if anything goes wrong with power cuts or water outages or anything like that, the person would get priority on the system. Income maximisation, benefits, grants, that sort of thing. It's very much similar to social prescribing in that it's completely wraparound. We do a lot of referrals to other organisations, basically whatever the person needs, we will refer. We help anyone who's vulnerable. So the project was first set up in order to help people who were coming home from hospital. So anybody who needed to be, safe and well at home to prevent readmission. Because of COVID and everything, it was adapted. So now it is anybody vulnerable. We are based in a lot of hospitals, but it's by no means no longer hospital admission patients only. We deal with anyone over 60, families with children under 5, households with disabilities, mental health, any long-term health conditions, short-term health conditions, and hearing or visual impairments. We are dementia friendly and have communication adaptations and stuff for people. We also have access to language line and stuff. So if English isn't the first language, that's fine too. The majority of the work we do can be done over the phone. I do find that's the quickest way, but obviously for a lot of people, that's not an option. So we do face-to-face as well, and I can go to home visits for extremely vulnerable people. And basically, yeah, so you can refer into us online, and we will do those checks with people. We'll get people signed up to the PSRs. We'll do energy advice, making sure they're on the cheapest tariffs. We can do food vouchers, household support run vouchers. We refer on to people if they need help with debt, housing, relationships, anything citizens advice based. We can refer on to colleagues who will then take that further. But yeah, so basically it's a referral form, how you refer into us. That's the website, but also if you Google Hampshire Home and Well, it comes up and you just click refer and it comes up with this form that you fill in, takes a couple of minutes, and then it will get sent to our to the Home and Well team, who will then give it to one of us advisors depending on whereabouts the client lives. And yeah, and basically it's a partnership between lots of energy companies, water companies. We're funded mainly by those people who obviously want us to sign people up to the PSRs, etc. So yeah, it works really well. It's award winning now. You know, it's fantastic service. I'll pop back to the email address at the bottom of this screen if you have any questions or anything like that, or anything now if you'd like. But if you want to send any questions to that email address, that's absolutely fine. But the referral form is the best way, probably the quickest way to be seen. At the moment, we are able to speak to people within 3 to 5 days of the initial referral. Can be shorter, really. It depends on capacity at the time. But yeah, any questions, anyone? Let me just go back, stop sharing. There we go.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you. Does anyone in the room have any questions for Eleanor about this service? No, I think you have covered it off very well. Brilliant. I was just thinking, actually, I was just having a quick look at the Home and Well website, and I remember when I was at the carers service, a lot of people aren't aware about the priority registers they can get onto for their utilities.
Yeah.
And we, you know, a lot of carers, for example, you know, might be using a lot of water because, you know, they might have a cared for who is perhaps has incontinent and maybe soiling, so they might need to be using more water to be cleaning their clothing and their pads each day, and they weren't aware that they could access service. So to see that there's this service set up by Citizens Advice to help people learn about, it's really good.
Especially when people are very dependent on water, you know, like and if they happen to be on any benefits as well, there's, you know, tariffs where they can, Southern Water, especially the one I deal with, you can get 45% discount on your water bill.
Yeah.
You know, which is quite significant for people who are, you know, very dependent on water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And people as well who are completely dependent on electricity because there might be equipment in their home that's
Yeah,
keeping
absolutely.
them going.
Yeah, you really need to be on those priority lists if you can.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ella. Thank you very much for coming today.
No problem.
Just one quick, any other questions for Eleanor? No? Cool. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Eleanor. Now, a bit of an additional speaker coming today, Svetlana. Have I said that right?
Yeah, you have. No worries. Everyone
Brilliant.
calls me T, by the way, so you can just call me T.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Hello.
Hello.
T is from the Saints Foundation, and you're going to talk a bit more about your project.
Yes, thank you for having me. Let me just share my screen. I've got a presentation. Can everyone see that? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, as Joe said, everyone, I'm from the Saints Foundation. My name is T. I'll talk a little bit, I'll give you an overview about the foundation just quickly if you haven't heard of it, and then I'll talk a bit about my project. So I'm a health and wellbeing coordinator, and I coordinate a few of our mental health and behavior change projects. So the one I'll talk about today mainly is Saints by Your Side, which is our men's mental health project. So yeah, just a little bit of an overview of who we are. The Saints Foundation is the charity of the football club. We're kind of the club's way of giving back. It's how we see ourselves. We kind of use the badge to go into the city and you know, yeah, help people and help people fulfill their potential to be more involved, healthier, empowered members of the community. You might have heard of some of our projects, so just again, a little bit of an overview. We do have 3 strands of work. I think currently we've got maybe about 17 or 18 projects, so you might have heard of something that we already do. This will change slightly because I think we're coming out with a new kind of strategy, so it will pretty much be similar, just have different names. So I'm part of the health team though, and that will stay the same. But we will have our involvement team, which works with say people who are out of work and out of education, so helping them gain some skills and get back into kind of, yeah, again, either education through some courses or college, further education, so on, or just get back into work and so on. And then empowerment will change onto our schools education project. So it's all like the schools that we work within. Yeah, so in the health, we work with people from all ages. We've got a few like senior saints projects that we've also got a falls recovery project that you might have heard of. So it's older adult mainly, and yeah, a few weight management ones as well. So this is our kind of first mental health project. So the mental health strand kind of runs across all of our projects, but this is the first one that we've got that is solely focused on this. It's called Saints by Your Side. This is my team, so yeah, I'm the health and wellbeing coordinator, and then we've got a few project officers as well that work. So I'll share at the end of this, Joe, I'll share the presentation, our referral form, as well as kind of our details, how you can get in touch with all of us. So the way the project works is we've got 3 strands, a 3-strand structure. So first we've got our mass engagement, which is our website. So on our website, that's being redesigned, and will hopefully look better. But what we have currently is a self-referral form. So, you know, if you're out there and you think, actually, I could do with some help, you can go on there, self-refer, which is a pretty short form of just like your details. It's more like an express an interest thing. And then we get in touch with people. We aim to do it within the first 48 hours. The other part of it is that you go on there and there's a lot of information, how to support yourself, little tips, but also how to support someone that you know and you care about. And hopefully, you know, that's the first part, mass engagement. You go on there, you see some tips and you think, okay, actually that's enough for me, that's good. However, then we've got, as I said, the referrals. So if you think, actually, I'm struggling a bit more, I might need a bit more support, then you can either self-refer, or we also have referrals from primary care services, such as you guys. So that's where we receive our referrals from. And then we also have referrals from secondary care services. So these might be people that are under a mental health team, mental health support team, have just come out of hospital and so on. So we have like different groups and of people that we work with. So this is what our website looks like at the moment. So again, some tips on how to improve well-being, where to find support and so on. And there's a referral form on there, as I said, self-referral form. That's it. So what exactly is the project? So we meet once a week for about 2 hours. It's for men over the age of 18. It says 18 to 55, and that's kind of our aim, to get most kind of people in that age range, just because the risk of suicide of those at that age is higher. However, we don't cap it at 55. If there's someone slightly older that needs support, obviously we're there for them. So yeah, our target audience is Saints fans, because kind of it's just easier through the club and the badge, and there's so many people that struggle with it, and most of our fans are men in that age range. However, if someone isn't a Saints fan or just not a football fan at all, they're still welcome to come. And the aim of it is just to create a safe space for men where they could kind of chat, and it doesn't even have to be about mental health. It could really be about anything. So we meet once a week for about 2 hours. We kind of start with a walk around the pitch. So it gets people doing some physical activity without them realizing, and it also gives us a chance to catch up with them and, you know, kind of see how their week's been. Yeah, so we do that. We can, it is pretty much depends on what the guys want at the session. So it could be, you know, we could do a few labs, we could walk for a little bit longer. It literally, the whole session is guided by the guys. So we do a bit of that, and then we go on to our Saints Foundation Lounge, which is a bit of a kind of a nice chilled space. I'll just skip a few slides just so I can show you. So yeah, we go for a walk, and then we go upstairs where we can relax, have a cup of tea, coffee, and we go through different topics. So these topics can include, these are just some of the ones that we've gone through so far. So we go through loneliness, grief, managing emotions, coping strategies, and so on. But again, it's important to mention that these are, again, guided by the participants themselves. So there are a few things that we might think, oh, actually, you know, they would probably like to hear about ghost setting, and that might be useful for them. But if they identify that they want to hear about something else, then we would make sure that we make a session for that. So, for example, quite a few of them, unfortunately, recently experienced bereavement. So we had a session on that. They've mentioned that they struggle with anger management. So we're preparing something for that. So it is pretty much, yeah, based around what the group wants. These are just some of the things that we've gone through. So what it is, it's pretty much a supportive program that will improve men's access to valuable support services. So we get them in, we hope to teach them some coping skills. We hope to kind of break down that stigma and create a space where they feel safe to talk. But also, once we're done with them, so they're with us for at least 12 weeks, between 12 and 24 weeks. So our exit strategy is kind of slightly introducing them to other services, so that, you know, once they're done with us, they can kind of feel more open to accessing, yeah, whatever is out there in the city. So it's a campaign, again, to get people talking about mental health, beginning to reduce stigma around mental health, especially for men, an opportunity for us as a club and the big audience that we have to be at the forefront of that positive change, and yeah, a place where fans can start talking, but again, not just fans. So yeah, here's a bit more about a few more pictures. So we are kind of privileged enough to, last week we had James Beattie there, which the guys loved. You know, even those that weren't football fans, it was quite nice to chat to him about it. He opened up about some of his struggles as well, and it was quite a nice session. It's not working. Oh yeah, and just we're quite clear about this, that we're not really a replacement for existing mental health services, a solution for all the issues, or a specialist medical intervention. We're just there to, so it's kind of like an extra support. Yeah, I think I said everything. That was a bit too much. Yeah, if there's any questions, but just to summarize, it's a program for men's mental health. Everyone who identifies as male over the age of 18 is welcome. Doesn't matter if they're a fan or not. Sessions take place at the stadium. We do have the flexibility to go out to different places. So we've been to like pool bars and so on. So Sharkies in town are nice enough to offer some space once a week. So we can have the flexibility of that. It is mainly to get together, get a group of men together, create a safe space, and hopefully along the way, they learn some nice kind of useful skills, coping skills. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tia. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for joining us today. Just a couple of thoughts from me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a male, I think any group that kind of supports men to reach out and talk about their mental health, and you point out that demographic, the 18 to 55, how highly at risk of suicide that age group sadly is. It's really good that there, certainly in the last couple of years, more sports and services have become available for men to talk and support them to have those conversations. I know, kind of looking at my own sort of friends and people I've met in my journey in this sector, you know, it's often a struggle. Men have a lot to say and a lot to talk about, but they don't always necessarily have the tools to do that, to kind of get that through. So I think to kind of bring them together in another space is absolutely brilliant. you mentioned about you did a session on bereavement,
Mhm.
and I think that might be a really good one to look at. There are bereavement services in the city, but I know they are quite highly subscribed by people needing them. Sadly, it is something that unites us all, and often people are not always able to access the support to kind of talk outside their family of all the feelings they feel after losing a loved one. So I think that's a really good really good route to go down. I think as well, one of the things I was thinking about from our own sort of SoLinked perspective, we tend to see a lot more females than males kind of coming through our service.
Mhm.
So it'd be really good to kind of promote this work, to kind of encourage men to come forward, because I noticed that you can kind of help signpost men onto the men's sheds and places like that. So it'd be
Absolutely.
really good to spread the word about this service, to help
Yeah,
more
I
men
think
come forward.
that's yeah, I think that's the point of it. I think women are more likely to come forward, and they are mainly the people that use the services. So I think that's why we were kind of identified as a club, because men are more likely to, I don't know, come to a stadium rather than, if someone tells them to go somewhere and talk about their feelings, which, they kind of do when they come to us, but they don't realize it and they don't come with that idea.
Yeah.
They like to describe it as an adult youth club, but absolutely, yes, it is absolutely there's a need for it. And as I said, we want to make sure that we're more there to bridge that gap and make sure that men, after engaging with us, hopefully they're more likely to go on to the other services that already exist rather than us substituting. That's why our program was actually 12 weeks, but we thought we don't have enough time to interact with those guys, gain their trust, and then also make sure that not only we don't just drop them after 12 weeks, but we have that time to introduce them to other things and bring them out to other things. So yeah, we've increased that to up to 24 weeks.
Fantastic.
It only started in January, so we're still kind of with the first group, and we're starting with the second group. So it's quite new, but I think the good thing about it, as I said, is it's pretty much guided by the guys. Really, and not just to say as well, not every session is super serious, like the bereavement one. Some sessions, if they feel like they just want to chill and relax, we can like do a quiz or just chat. So yeah, it is. That's why again, it's been expanded to 24 weeks, so we have that time for flexibility and not just, oh, sorry, can you stop talking, because today, Joe, we have to go through this slides. But yeah. Yeah,
Fantastic. Thank you, T. It was wonderful. Any questions from the room? No. Cool. Fantastic. T, thank you very much for joining us today. You're welcome to stick around. We're going to have a bit more sort of conversation afterwards, but I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers who have come with us today, and just reiterate that if anyone who's within the room thinks of a question to ask one of the speakers afterwards, I'll be sharing details and presentations and things afterwards. Thank you very much.
Right. Just thank you for having me, and I will send you the referral form just in case if anyone wants to refer.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Cool. If there's no questions, I'd quite like to have just a short break, just for a couple of minutes, go and get a cup of tea and some water, use the loo, and we'll reconvene here in about 5 minutes at about sort of 11:15. Is that okay with everyone? Cool. Okay, we'll just break for 5, and we will catch up again at 11:15. These some thumbs up. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to stop recording as well. Let's do that. Cool.